Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here today. We're going to take another look at Dent. We're going to strictly take a look at the technical data. There's no fundamentals here, strictly just analyzing stock charts, making sure that you can make an informed decision. I'm going to hopefully help you be able to find a good entry point and ways to stay profitable in this market. Before we get started, I recommend you always do your own research. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I just have years of experience and I want to make sure to bring that to the table. So please feel free to contact me on Telegram or Twitter. Links are in the description below. Let's go ahead and get right to it. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at Dent. Now, Dent Wireless is one of my favorites, and I do this for my supporters because you guys are just a really awesome community, so I really want to thank you very much for all of your contributions and just letting me know what you like, don't like, and hopefully this is up your alley again. So I did a review, a couple of them, a few days ago. I skipped out yesterday because there was tons of price action. I actually had a few other things going on, so I do appreciate your patience. But I did want to provide this to you here so you can kind of see what's going on, because there is an interesting channel the way that it's working. I feel like we're likely to have a breakout soon. So let's go ahead and take a look. Now, I always like to start with a 15-minute chart so we can kind of see what's going on currently. And last time I reviewed this, we were right in this channel here, trying to figure out if it's going to go up or down, and it was testing the support level at about 91 cents. It did look like it broke out pretty strong to break the previous resistance of 1 cent, and it stayed up and above that 9 for some time now. Okay. So that is essentially what's going on with Dent for right now. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at Bitcoin just so we can kind of compare and contrast the two, because I like to kind of draw comparison. Now, just to quickly note, not a lot going on with Bitcoin. It's essentially just consolidating like it traditionally does, but in this case, it did test the 100-day moving average and it was rejected pretty hard. So that is something to note. Good news is we're over the 50-day moving average and we're still staying above this strong support level of right around 53,200. Yeah. So again, not a lot to report, kind of typical normal behavior right now with Bitcoin, but be on the lookout. It does look like it might plan to test this moving average again soon as it slowly keeps coming down. All right, so moving back to Dent here, let's take a look as we usually do at the 1-day chart, 4-hour chart, and then dive deeper into this 15-minute. So looking at the 1-day chart, that is actually quite nice. I like this a lot because you can see that there's recovery, there's normal normal sell-off. Of course, Bitcoin had a little bit to do with that, but as we've noted before, Dent doesn't follow Bitcoin precisely, which is nice. But something to note here is just that the 50-day moving average is working as a support level right now, and the 100-day also worked as a support when it rejected here. Granted, that was a massive sell-off from Bitcoin that same day, so everyone was a little concerned. Everyone was selling their positions, and we saw a pretty standard, pretty normal, jump back up here for the price movement. So kind of normal stuff. And just to quickly note, the RSI is in good shape. Overall, it's neither oversold or overbought. And the MACD is moving upwards, and it does appear that it will likely cross or intersect at 2 points. And it's typically a good positive sign to go along as far as the 1-day chart is concerned. Again, I prefer to see that on the 4-hour chart. I think it looks a lot better and it feels better and it works just a lot better than the 1-day chart, but this is, again, something to note. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, see what the moving averages are doing here. So on the 4-hour chart now, the RSI is fairly similar to the 1-day chart, which is good. We've got this consolidation period right now, and that basically just means that Dent is planning for a breakout. Could be up, could be down, we'll see. But if we look at the MACD, it's moving down, so we are losing momentum there. So kind of more along the lines of bearish sentiment right now. But I don't think that's going to hold for much longer because of the fact that we're above some major support levels, and we also have the 50-day moving average and the 100-day moving average that is trending below the price. Those are all positive technical signs. The only thing we got to look out for is the 200-day moving average. You can see that it was tested and essentially kind of created itself as a resistance level right around the 0.012. Okay, so 1.2 cents essentially is right approximately where that's at. So that's about all we need to really look at there. Again, just be mindful of how that moving average, the 200-day moving average, is reacting to the price as the price continues to work itself through this channel here. So let's take a look at the 15-minute chart now. So approximately 2 days ago, again, we were here in this channel. It shot up, stayed above 1 cent. So what we should do first is establish our support and resistance levels. So I always like to extend this out because that was tested another couple of times here. So if we see 1 cent, that is a pretty strong support level. So I'm fairly confident in the sense that we shouldn't see the price come back down under 1 cent unless Bitcoin has another crazy sell-off. And the reason why is because, again, even though Bitcoin isn't 100% the reason why Dent's price movement goes up or down, it's still the fact that there's an overall sentiment of a bearish market with Bitcoin. Since people use Bitcoin to buy Dent, they're going to pull out and essentially take what's left of their profits, which is why Dent is influenced that way. So in that sense, if we see this here, the 1 cent margin should be fine. It'll probably continue to go upwards closer to the 2 cent previous all-time high, right around 2 cents. So at this point, I'm not really too worried about the price coming down. But what we want to look at here on the 15-minute chart is, of course, my favorite, the volume weighted average price. See how that's reacting. And the price is under VWAP. It was tested twice with not a super large variance, but it does appear to be holding underneath the volume weighted average price. So let's go ahead and turn off these moving averages and just see here. So we have this steep increase in price, sell-off. So what we probably should do is look at a smaller time frame, because even though I like what I see here in the sense that the VWAP has established itself as a resistance level, I would like to kind of see how that looks at a smaller time frame. So let's peek at the 1 minute chart, see what's going on. Now the 1 minute chart can get a little funny looking, just based on the amount of volume, because with these consolidation periods you don't have a ton of volume, which causes kind of, it looks like kind of gappy, if you will, and it looks kind of weird, so I like to squish it down a little bit more to see what's going on. But as you can kind of tell, the VWAP has been pretty consistently at this channel, so it's working itself as a resistance level now. Again, there's that variance that we saw earlier. It tested, came above, and came back down. This is why I always try to recommend you wait 15 to 30 minutes for the volume weighted average price to be tested and stay above. Because if you count these minutes here, I could guarantee this is less than 30 minutes. I don't know, maybe 20 to 25 minutes here. So you see the price broke above. Had you just say take an entry at this point thinking it's going to stay above without waiting for confirmation, 25 minutes later, price comes back down and it stays under VWAP. So that's, again, another reason why I do that, because if it stays above for long enough, it's usually a much better indicator. Now, if you look at these ones from before, this one stayed above, of course, but that wasn't a full 30 minutes. That's more like 15 minutes and it came back down. So let me do this here. Take a look at this here. 1 second. So as you can see, it comes up. There's 2 solid green bars, but immediately it comes back down. So you want to be careful when you see a very strong increase in price. That's usually an indication that the price is going to return. So try not to jump on the hype train anytime you see a price like this happen. Even though there are, yes, 2 solid green bars, it's immediately followed by a strong, solid red bar. So I always recommend just wait for confirmation. If you're going to take entry at this point, I would say wait for the price to come above VWAP and stay there for 15 minutes. Furthermore, ensure the RSI is still traveling under 70. Now, for the most part, it has. So if you can see here, the last time it was over 70 was right back here when the price hit right around 0.128. Okay, so as you can see, a lot of movement happens. It's considered overbought at that point. So anytime you see the RSI come up over the 15-minute chart over 70, you want to be very careful, very cautious, because of the fact that the price could very well reverse on you. Okay. So in my opinion, and I mentioned this in other videos, if you're ever planning to take profit, the best time to take profit is to wait for the RSI on the 50-minute chart to come up and above the 70 number. In other words, all 3 of these times, look at this. There's this one here, for example. this really strong increase in price. Came up almost about 77, almost 80. So a good time to be taking profits would have been right there, then wait for the price to come back down and add back that amount you took out to your position. Same thing here as well. Goes up this high, sell your profit, take a little bit of extra profit, and wait for the price to come back down and test the VWAP and see what happens. Okay. So again, it just kind of works really well for me. Anytime I decide I want to plan to take my profits, when I see something that's overextended, I look to see the variance between the volume weighted average price and the actual price. If you see right here how high the price is above the volume weighted average price, the VWAP line, significant difference. That in combination with the RSI being over 70 for this long, that is almost like, it was over 70 for almost 2 hours, hour and a half. It's a great time to get out. So as soon as you see that, take your profit, and then when I say taking profit, I usually trim about 10 to 20% off my total position, and then wait for the price to come back down, test the VWAP, and then I would probably have taken entry right around here and or over here, depending on what the indications are telling me. Okay. So that's my recommendation here, of course. So just in summary, make sure you wait for the VWAP line to be tested, ensure the RSI is under 70, and then of course, make sure that your support and resistance levels are being tested. Right now, on the 15-minute chart, there's really not a lot of support and resistance, minus the 1 cent line. So be mindful of the 1 cent line. If it comes back down, as you can see, it was tested 4 times. It'll likely be tested again if it comes back down, and if it does, and it stays above like it did, that would be an excellent point to take entry. So see if you can be patient here. What we're hoping for is the price to bounce off VWAP, to lose it, and to come back down somewhere close to the 1 cent range. And then we can add to our position and see where it goes from there. Okay, and one last thing here, we'll take a look at the big picture, because I think there's probably going to be another potential resistance level. In fact, we'll use a 4-hour chart that might be coming up after, sorry, I'm jumping around here. So we're probably looking at this right here as the next available. So 0.0135. We're going to mark that for later to see what that looks like. So I have a sneaking suspicion that if the price does break out and come back up, that will likely be the next resistance line. Okay. But for now, obviously, the immediate resistance level is right around 0.125. So just be mindful of that. That's probably the very first one, but it has been tested 2-3 times on the 4-hour chart, so there's a chance it could break through that. Something to be mindful of. So anyways, hopefully you found benefit from this here, and I do think that at this point, Dent's in a really good position to continue upwards. The overall momentum is bullish, even though we had a slight pullback here recently. It's nothing to be worried about. This consolidation is positive because it's working itself into a channel, and in most cases, when there's a channel like this, it will eventually break out. Okay. One last thing, we can go ahead and note this here. It could very well work itself into a channel like this. So I would say over the next 24 to 48 hours, we're going to see some type of breakout, either up or down, and it will test this support level here, or shoot up to see if it can test this new resistance level. So just be mindful of that. So that's everything. If you did find benefit from this video, please like and subscribe. Really greatly appreciate that. Also join our Telegram community. Let's get engaged, let's communicate, let's be open about our progress and see if we continue to learn from each other. I appreciate you joining me here nonetheless. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you in the next video.